Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. Episode 1001 on day 2. Wait, I should have made it yesterday. Should have been an episode. I'm never going to make this episode 1002. Who cares? Anyway, we're on a bunch of episodes, and what is this, Thursday? Heading into the first weekend of 2020. And I only sent out links to people going to SHOT Show this year. It's kind of two different shows earlier today about SHOT Show, and I think one of them is still quirking me right now, actually. So we'll see who all shows up. So far, Obnoxious showed up from North Carolina. Thanks for joining.
Hey, G, thanks for having me.
You bet.
It's nice to be on a daily gun show. I haven't been on in a while. I don't know how long I'll last, but I'll last for a little while here.
Right on. Yeah, it's kind of a weird week with the holiday. And some people are working, some people got time off or whatever. So I'm doing this one in the chamber, and we got different kind of tech out there after September of 19 or whatever the hell that would be called, 19. We had no more Hangout. So, or when YouTube took the Hangout away in September last year, we didn't have any or we had multiple options, I guess. We didn't have any more Hangouts, but we had multiple things to choose from, and I chose XSplit originally due to a couple of variables, and my computer couldn't handle it, so now that I have a computer that can handle it, I've been using XSplit. So anyway, I just explained that because I'm trying to encourage more people to get online and do this stuff, and it's not that it's harder now, it's, I'd say, probably about the same level of depth of difficulty, it's just that it's different now. And that changed a bunch of people. We saw a bunch of people. Maybe we could chat about that. Sarge jumped in from North Carolina also. Thanks for joining. I sent out some topics in the email, I think. I'm getting a weird echo. Are you guys hearing that, or is it just me? It's not bad, but I can hear it out there. But I think I put in there 2020 collaborations or something like that, or project collaborations, and then SHOT Show. So you guys were just in a chat with SHOT Show. I don't know if you guys, well, you guys probably won't. Sarge probably wasn't. I know that Snob and I were both watching both chats. I don't know if Obnoxious was, but Clover was having a chat about SHOT also. Actually, for a minute there, you were talking about the same topic. You were talking about eating cold pills ahead of time or whatever, or what's the name of that stuff? You know,
Airborne or Airborne C are the two I know of.
Right, but there's a name for that.
Out there.
There's a name for like precautionary medicine or whatever. But you guys were both talking about the same concept at the same time. Anyhow, so looking forward at SHOT Show or whatever, looking backward, I was going to say, how many people do you think dropped off in September when Hangouts wasn't an easy option or a familiar option, or they just weren't going to take another iteration of trying to figure this stuff out? Is there anybody that comes to mind as noticeable that we no longer have with us chatting? I'm going to say Knives. I'm going to say Knives. The daily chats that were happening, like, the organic chats that somebody would open and leave. I'm going to say Knives is a representation of that concept, because once this new system, you just can't really do that.
Yeah, and Dead Horse was hosting some for a while too, where you just leave them.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like that concept of just having a chat that's open and maybe you're half asleep or you even leave while it's going. That's just not going to be possible as easy as it was, especially with the tech of the stupid stream. Anyway, so anybody else that, I don't know, I just thought about that when I was chatting there, if there's anybody else we could think of that dropped off. I don't know that it's pertinent to listen to or remember everybody that's left, but every once in a while it's important to look back, right?
And nobody that I can think of, because everybody that I was watching then, I'm still watching now, so they've moved on to something, whether they're running it, with Chamber, they're doing OBS and running some kind of way there, going over to StreamYard. Everybody I was watching is still out there.
That's true. And I mostly watch rooms. I don't watch individuals. Anybody that was just an individual didn't even have a hiccup. You know, if they were just live with themselves and didn't worry about other people, then there's no difference for them, right?
Yeah, because most of them we're finding some way to do it. You know, we were all scrambling around there for when it first happened, and I don't know, I think there was Streamlabs was one of them that you could do, which some of us knew about because YouTube did the 1,000 sub thing to get rid of. You know, you couldn't go live on mobile unless you had 1,000 subs. So Streamlabs was out there, and StreamYard came along.
Oh, so that was an option to go live without the 1,000 sub requirement? Okay.
Yep. And it's all right. I mean, it was a workaround to get that, but I don't remember if you could bring anybody. I don't think you could bring anybody in. It was a one man. It was a one man show if you did Streamlabs because you were doing it mobile.
Now I have two questions I'm going to ask you guys, and then we'll address something that's coming up in the chat. So first, that you made me think of was, let's say we lost live, like there wasn't a replacement for Hangouts, and we just had to do videos, whatever that's called, produced videos that you show, maybe a premiere or something to get a little bit of live chat or text conversation going when the thing goes live, but otherwise no live actual conversation. What would be the effect if we look back at the however many years anyone who's answering the question has been aware of it? How much has live changed anything really? I mean, I know it's offered conversation and it's constructive, I think, and useful, but has there been results of live conversations that are tangible, or like we'd have been less if there had never been a live situation?
Oh, I couldn't have learned nearly as much about like doing YouTube without these live chats. I couldn't have learned nearly as much prior to going to my first SHOT Show last year without these live chats. I mean, we've done a tremendous amount of things because of these live chats and got the word out about a lot of things. I know they've been restricted with some of the new policies, but I think they're still a very viable option, and I'm thankful for them.
Yeah, we were running, or I forget whose chat it was. Somebody's chat had guns in it. There's no restrictions. I mean, they can pull a gun out if you're doing some things, but Honda's been pulled, and he's also not been pulled. So it's not even consistent. They're definitely not scrutinizing every live stream for any little bit of a gun.
I think didn't Jimmy Nees get dinged for like a Nerf gun or something? They shut his camera off. He didn't get.
Are you talking about on Matt's chat? I think he was just screwing around. He was just screwing around.
Was he just screwing around?
Yeah. He was just playing.
I haven't been willing to pull one out on anybody's chat.
All it should do is turn it off. But I guess anyway, I'm just saying, I don't know. I hear you, but that's a whole nother discussion as to whether or not. But your point is though that people are still. I'm quiet.
Yeah, maybe you faded out pretty good.
Yeah, you fade in. You've been fading in and out a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've got I moved my heater to be a little bit closer to me, so it might be picking up that, or something else. I don't know. Maybe if I move this down a little bit, does that make any difference? I'm going to get my
Sounds good there.
I'm getting my new mic tomorrow. It's like should be delivered before 9 p.m. tomorrow. It says, and that's like a real mic, costs $50, so it should make my videos better, hopefully, or my audio better, I guess. Anyway, so I was just asking if live had any real consequence, and maybe that's a topic for subject for videos or something, contemplative type of video, or maybe a video where you can ask your audience, get some interaction, get some response. If you just put stuff out there, what do you want people to do? Like, here's what I did, here's what I think, here's what I saw. But if you interact, you get, you're literally asking people to have conversation in your chat. Anyway, maybe that's something you can ask people if they think live is worthwhile. Because I guess I'm asking the question because we're going forward. Yesterday I was asking a decade ahead what 2A is going to do. Today I'm just going to say what do we got going forward for opportunities for collaboration. I think, my perspective, we got a more woke 2A media community than we've ever had. At least a big portion of it is aware of each other, where before everybody was sort of whatever, just doing their thing by themselves, not necessarily blind to each other, but everybody was looking up, nobody was looking around.
I'll agree with that. I mean, just with the people that we're in chats with, it's not like we're all out there doing our own thing in a vacuum. I mean, I'm on Sarge's on mine, we're on Snobs, we're on Gizzards, we're here. I mean,
Bigger
we're all
picture.
interconnected.
Yeah, but I'm saying bigger picture. You've got all the people at the rally. They brought some YouTubers in. Now, there wasn't a lot of writers that I'm aware of. Like, it wasn't as inclusive as it could be across platforms, but it was certainly bigger than just some YouTubers doing it or just some 2A activists who no one's ever heard of before. It was a good blend. But, even gun rights policy, we got Yankee to gun rights policy. That's not a giant thing, but that's a little bit of something. And I know that Argo is making a documentary and he brought it to the gun rights policy. So that means it'll be in at least, whatever level documentary that'll end up being. Independent, I guess they call that. Pink is saying in the chat, how long does the chamber run for? I'll open one up and then run it to use his server space that he has at home, or through his internet account. But the problem is Mike has to pay for the other side of that, so he doesn't have unlimited. He pays for every bit of transfer. So while we're using this or whatever, it's it's like a meter on an electric meter or whatever. So if we just left it running, it would just ring up a bill, like if we opened up a tap and just let the water run unnecessarily. If there was people in it, I don't think he'd care, but if we just left it open, it would just be creating a bill for no reason.
As far as the live shows, I think for me, it's been meeting people in them and learning stuff in them. Like Sarge said, I'm going to SHOT Show for my first time, so I can get what little I can get out of whoever's produced video, or I can get into a live chat or watch a live chat with people who've actually been there and learn a bunch.
Yeah, and I personally think it's got to be neat. I don't know because I'm on this side of it, but I would think if you've got an option between watching somebody pull a trigger or, I don't know, maybe somebody does some sort of an adventure type of channel where they, shot as part of their adventures or whatever, so you're just following them along and then they're there pulling triggers. But most people are just like, I'm pulling triggers on this week or this month or whatever they do their, frequency. I'm going to pull a trigger on this. I'm going to pull a trigger on this. I'm pulling a trigger on this at SHOT Show. So otherwise it's just a similar video, just in a different location. It's a different, what a live conversation is. It's so much different, whatever choice than that. Because who knows what a live's going to be? It's either a train wreck or it's really neat or it's nothing. But at the same time, it's not just going to be another flavor of the same old recipe or whatever. Anyway, so that's that one. The other one I was going to ask was going back further. If I scroll on this screen, you don't see it, okay. Oh, the Clover and Ghost stickers I got on the screen here, even though they're corking me right now. I thought that was pretty clever. They're selling a $10 sticker and then signing it. I guess they're giving something away too, but I thought just the idea of doing a sticker, a collaborative thing, and then they sign it at the show or something. I never seen anybody do something like that in a bit. So I don't know, just thinking, what do you guys think as people go into SHOT and you're not independently wealthy? Have you thought about doing some sort of fundraising thing, or have you heard about different fundraising things for events before that might work for you guys for SHOT or for others for SHOT?
didn't enact it this year, but I think it would be a good idea in the future to come up with something. I want to make it a good value for people. I don't want to just ask for something. So we do need to think ahead for next time. We might want to think ahead for NRAM, you know, for some sort of fundraiser.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about this before about hitting,
Well, you could,
you know, the local shops and everything, and I've got maybe one that's near me who might see the value in it. I don't think there's a single one of the other ones that will, because there's still the old, you know, the old school of thought with guns. They have no idea what the internet is.
okay, well, I'm talking more like how they're doing a thing with a sticker and then they involve the show itself as part of it. Like, I guess you buy the sticker or you buy, you know, you give them $10. I think they're doing 100 of them, so ideally they would get $1,000 for their trip. And then they sign them at the show. So that's where I was thinking anybody could incorporate something like that. Or let's say you get a set of stickers, which, you know, you're usually going to pay somewhere between 50 cents and $1 for a sticker, depending on how you have it printed and on who you know or something, you know, how many you're buying, that kind of thing. But if you were to buy like a logo sticker, or I don't think you'd even have to buy a sticker. You could probably, if it was something for just trying to fundraise, you could maybe offer to grab somebody the stuff from a booth and put it in an envelope for you. So if you were to say, give me $10 and I'll grab all the stuff from a booth and put it in an envelope, you know, an envelope might cost you, if you're not buying them in the bulk, I'm buying them, you know, 50 cents or something, I guess, for a padded envelope. And then $3 to ship it. Does it cost more than 50 cents for an envelope? Anyway, so
I don't know. I haven't bought bulk envelopes. That's I think just you here in the chat is buying bulk envelopes.
yeah, I know, I'm just saying. But you know what I'm saying, you could grab stuff for people if they were interested in I don't know, like I'm a big fan of North American Arms, you know, they're like me, right? So I try to grab one of their catalogs every year, just even though it's literally almost the same catalog every year, I just have a set of catalogs. So you know, somebody might not even realize that's a thing anymore. You guys remember back in the day, one of the reasons you go to a gun shop is because before the internet stuff, you could get a gun catalog there sometimes, especially like after an event or maybe after their people came home from SHOT Show or something like that, you know, like there'd be stacks of catalogs there occasionally. And then you could have like an actual Colt catalog or a Smith & Wesson catalog and like see all their cool guns with all the great pictures and stuff. So anyway, that stuff still exists. They just don't send it out as much as they used to, but they'll have it at SHOT Show. And that's the kind of thing that, depending on your strategy at SHOT, you're probably not picking that stuff up because it would weigh you down and you just have to drag it home. And if you're flying, it costs money to bring that stuff home and everything. But again, if you've got people that are interested in doing your, you know, watching your stuff happen and being part of it, again, you could, let's say, go to the Kel-Tec booth and Cimarron booth, I don't know, whatever booths people wanted to see stuff from, grab it all, put it in an envelope. At the most, one of those padded bubble envelopes from post office costs $7.50 to ship, and they give you the envelope. So figure, you know, if somebody wanted full-size 8.5 by 11 type of manuals, if they gave you $20, cost you $7 to ship it, you'd still make a couple of bucks. They'd be helping your channel out. So anyway, I'm just trying to throw some creative ideas out there. You guys got patches or stuff? Maybe do something where you take a picture of their patch in front of a booth or something and you sign it right there. So they're getting something unique, you know, that has something that ties into the event, you know. Give them a picture, you know, a digital picture of you doing it or something. Or maybe, I was thinking, you know, I do, one of the things I do and people have taken me up on it is to, like, people on the cart, you can buy a cartoon of somebody. So somebody can, like, I'm going to be cartooning these people anyway, or maybe I already have cartooned them, but they can, like, you know, basically give me 20 bucks or 10 bucks, I forgot what I said on there, you know, for that, you know, like, sponsor the cartoon or something. So maybe if, I don't know if you guys have patches left anymore, but, you know, put on your site or something like sponsor a patch, and then somebody gives you, let's say, 20 bucks to give one of your patches to somebody while you're at SHOT Show. So, you know, something you might already be doing anyway, like Julie Galoob or something, or Clover, I don't know, some celebrity, right? Or just somebody else, or just, I don't know, You can do something like that, like $20, I'll perform some action at the event. Yeah, Pink is saying mail it out from Vegas before you leave. That's a great idea. Then you wouldn't have to take it home. It'd be done already. They'd get it, sooner than later. Anyway, just throwing some stuff out there. Have you guys heard of stuff like that with others? I mean, there's got to be people who have done stuff. Scouts, they want to go on trips and stuff, and they'll do creative things to raise funds. People that are going like to the Olympics and stuff out here, we see people doing the Olympics that have done some things. We had a guy running for sheriff that did some stuff to raise funds that were more than your typical. Anything else out there that you could think of that people might do? Because we still got some time, that's what I'm thinking. You got time to actually do some stuff before. Now, obviously, I'd definitely like you guys to be able to work with gun shops and stuff, but I think that's more than just you telling the gun shop what a great idea it is. I think that's more of somehow we get the industry to understand that there's some value so that when you come to offer it to them, it's not the first time they've ever heard of the concept, right?
Right. I think that's changing a little bit because, like I said, there's one near me that has a store in Greensboro, and they have one in Winston-Salem, and they're on quite a bit. They do Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, but all the other ones, I've got one near me that has no idea that any of that exists. I've got another one that does, another two that do nothing but like post pictures on Facebook, and almost nobody is on Instagram. So, and as far as YouTube, no, they have no idea.
Well, there's a couple of things you can, I guess, I've done before unintentionally and sometimes intentionally once I knew that I could do it, is to mention or, allude to a shop. And if it's somebody you like, you give them your phone number and say, hey, if you like this video, then give them a call or buy it or whatever. I guess, depending on what it is, you're not going to say buy it, but you know what I mean? Get them to contact, put a call to action to contact the shop. I guess on that same vein, if the shop is like, let's say, I don't know, some shooting team in town, have people donate to that shooting team or something in the name of that shop or whatever, and then let the shop know that that was a project you worked on or something, so that you can do something that they understand, to see some, consequence of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hear you. All right, well, so I had an idea, or I had a thought, and then I lost it here. It's fucking getting cold. So I wanted to do kind of a short show today. I do have some things I want to work on before shop, but I'm glad you guys jumped in. So, if you guys are here, I'd rather get the make use of the opportunity. Is there anything as far as a couple of weeks out that you've got as far as loose ends or, I don't know, questions or?
I've kind of finalized my rig. I rebuilt it this just before Christmas. I rebuilt the rig, so I'm testing it out, making sure it works there, and got all that going. And that's really about it. I'm trying to do some research ahead of time. That last time I went and I just walked around and tried to find things to shoot video on. This year, I'm planning out, maybe not my days, but I'm definitely going to plan out like blocks of where companies are and kind of block them off so I can make use of my time and not just pinball around the whole thing. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually working on my planner, and I'm going to start printing things off and laying them out in a little, kind of like a little map, I guess, is what I'm going to do. So that's what I'm doing right now.
You're going to be there for all 4 days?
Well, like I said, I don't know how in depth I'm going to get it. I'm going to try to at least find things that I definitely want to see, and then kind of lay out where they are and try to make my time more efficient. I don't know if I'll stick with it 100%, but I'm definitely going to, because there may be some things that I think I really want to do first. I may be forced to bounce around, but other than that, I want to try to be more efficient than I was last year.
And I've got a couple more parts left that I'm waiting to be delivered, and then I'm gonna finalize my rig and get that set up. But I've also got the new audio recorder that I've gotta get dialed in and figure out everything on that before we get out there. And then I gotta start planning out. I've gone through like the app and on the website and checked all the places that I like to visit, but I gotta start prioritizing those on what I'm definitely gonna hit. What's number two? What's down there if I have a chance to go hit? Because like I said, I know there's stuff I definitely want to see, and there's going to be plenty of squirrel moments in there where I'm going to go, oh, that's shiny, let's go look at that. But I'd like to have some kind of plan on what I'm doing when I get out there.
Yeah, if you're just now putting together your cameras and shit, whoever was saying that before, like you definitely want to test all that in like a noisy area. So go down, if you can get all that stuff put together by Saturday, go down to the water feature, and before you run all them kids out, try to record some stuff with all that background noise.
And that's what I've been doing as I've been testing my new audio recorder and setting up like the noise gates on it and stuff. I'll go down by the creek, but someone that has the most background noise, and test and see if you can hear the lapel mics when I have them hooked up to the audio recorder, and I have one that just the external mics on it. I've been testing that now, and I'm trying to find the place with the most background, like you said, that's gonna mimic people in the background, because there's gonna be a million voices in there.
Well, I figure
at the same time talking.
He'll have the crowd of people, and then the gunshots that run them off, and then the yelling and screaming. So that'll be quite a few different noise levels for him to. All right, so
definitely give me plenty to dial in.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're going to try to do something, I guess. I'll just start scheduling some stuff now and try to get as many people in as possible. There's more than one strategy for a show like that, or the show. Everybody's spending a different amount of resources to get to it and has a different expectation from it, right? So listening to what been listening to, I don't know if you guys really talked about it, but Ghost and Clover, where they're talking about their experiences, different years and stuff, and the evolution of, their experiences. And, if you're spending your whole nut to get to the SHOT Show and that's all you're going to do all year, that's different than if you're planning on going to 7 shows in a year, right? So your expectations are going to be different. You're going to want to get more out of it, and it is different. So, people that haven't traveled or haven't attended something, big like that, like a trade show, because this is no different really than going to a big car show in a big city, or I can't think of something else that's as big, maybe a Comic-Con or a big concert even. I mean, Sarge, you've been to it now. There's other things that compare to it. It's only the 5th largest one in Vegas, so there's larger conventions for sure. And there's got to be other towns that have huge conventions. So it's not like it's unique as far as its size or anything. So I can understand how it's overwhelming. But again, there's strategies. You've got, everybody's going to want to take a bigger, different size bite out of it. But with 4 days of show, that's one aspect, because it might seem like a lot, but the 5th day isn't the same as the 1st day. And those two middle days, those 2 middle days are totally different than the end days. And you've got some variables that you can't control. You might think on your schedule, your plans, Thursday and Tuesday, or Wednesday. I guess it's tough to. The stupid show starts on Tuesday. Everybody's tendency is to start everything on Monday. So if you think Wednesday and Thursday are the ideal days, on your schedule, that might work out perfectly. But in the rest of the world's strategy, they might only show up for the first 2 or the second 2 days of SHOT. So their Tuesday and Wednesday might be critical. So their urgency to get in front of you in line with somebody is going to be something that you can't control, I guess. So thinking about the 4 days of it is one thing. The 5th day of the media day, all right? And then if you go to Antares the day before, that's 6 days of, no, it's 6 days of just walking around and stuff. If you get there Saturday and, start digging in, that could be a lot for most people who do stuff a lot. So for somebody that's not active for 7 days in a row, you need to be able to pace yourself, right? So that's why I'm going to encourage getting out and walking every single day from now till then. You don't have to kill yourself. Just go walk for a little bit until you get sick of it and come back, and tomorrow walk the same amount or a little bit more. And by the time you get to shot, at least have some amount of stamina. But I think that's what gets so many people their first year, is not remembering that it's not just 4 days, it's 5 days really, and travel. And I don't fly, so I can't imagine, I guess everybody's different, if flying kicks you a little bit or not, jet lag and that kind of stuff. Of course, you guys have already talked about health stuff, but I think walking gets you some of that, or gives you some resistance to that. But then again, how much you want to dig into these things, if you want to make appointments, or if you want to, I don't want to call it drift, I guess, just mosey, or whatever that would be called. It's 12 acres or something like that, or they say 12, 14 or miles worth of aisles. The thing is, when you walk, when you think of like trying to think of like one of the big ammunition companies or some of the big conglomerates or something, their booth is huge, but 3 sides of their booth is just a wall. So yeah, there's 12 miles of aisles, but probably 4 miles of that to 5 or 6 miles even is just hallways. You're effectively hallways. It's not like there's stuff everywhere. So, once you start to break it down, there's the big room, there's the smaller room that's just underneath of it, the footprint of the big room, which is, smaller ceiling, so it seems smaller, but it's just as big as the big room. And that's all there really is. And then there's some external rooms. And once you've either figured out where the external rooms are spatially, or given up trying to worry about it and just understand where they are in the hallways, that's all there is 2 big rooms and 6 small rooms. And the 6 small rooms are either right on top of each other or next to each other. So it's, the only real confusion is all the goofiness that happens in the big hallways. There's really big hallways you can almost drive a fire truck through, just because it's a giant building, and those change a little bit. And I think people get disoriented in the big hallway, but once you get in the big rooms, it's just a big grid. And so one of the strategies is just to walk the whole thing first and see what's all there, and then go back to your list and go, okay, this is obtainable, these guys are super busy, I've already seen this, right? So there's that option. And then there's the zone, or whatever you call it, like I'm going to do this floor first, or I'm going to do this segment first, this segment second, and then you just figure out what stuff you want to meet, see or talk to in those segments. And if you're giving yourself like 1 room a day or something, then if they're busy, you just come back, but that's where you end up not being able to plan all this. If you go somewhere and it works on your plan to talk to them in the morning on Tuesday, but guess what? They're busy all day on Tuesday. Now you've got to start shuffling things. Now it becomes some weird Tetris, shifting schedules and calling people. And I don't know if you've ever tried to schedule something with somebody in a situation that's dynamic and then try to change that. You're not doing yourself any favors, right? So I don't think anybody wants to hear that you're changing an appointment or attempting to change an appointment. You're just going to end up losing the appointment, I would suspect.
Yeah, especially with something that big. If you miss an appointment, unless you're somebody really big,
Significant, yeah.
They're just going to write you off.
Or else if they're not significant enough that they got nothing else to do. But yeah, like that's the thing where I just, anyway, so there's different strategies, and I'm not going to try to go through them all. I'm just trying to throw some stuff out that it'd be good to have a chat where we, I guess, briefly talk about existing strategies, because I'm of the mindset that you could listen to everything I've ever done for 15 years, and that's not going to help you next year. It's not going to help you in 3 weeks. It'll just tell you a bunch of stories and some ideas, but that's, maybe we can just extract some of the ideas and kernels out of people's experiences and help with that. But otherwise, we still got some time to prepare and to organize. And like I say, even if it's not a sponsorship thing, which I'd like to still keep focus on, because again, if we want to see Second Amendment move on or media continue to grow, we need to include fundraising into our projects. Otherwise, unless you got sugar mamas, you burn out. You can only do it for so long with your own funding. And if you haven't built something into it, it becomes a burden. But we're going to the one of the largest industries. Is it a largest industry? I know that they claim that we're the giant industry. I don't really know how the firearms stacks as far as all industries go, though. I know where they're at with lobbyings a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never looked into the numbers on
But
what exactly the industry is.
But you figure, I was looking just off of SHOT Show's own propaganda. They say that they'll expect $90 million in Las Vegas in that week, just from us going to restaurants and hotels and rental cars and doing whatever we're going to do. $90 million. So if the industry goes someplace and spends 90 million, what does the customers of the industry? And I mean, like it seems like a significant amount of people, I guess what I'm saying. Just to host the industry, like that. I'm guessing we've got a lot of money out there. So I think, again, if we go to SHOT and just look at ourselves as cameras and walk away and say thanks for the opportunity, then they feel like they've given us something by giving us the opportunity, when it should be a symbiotic relationship, right? And more than just having an opportunity to see their stuff, I'd like the industry to understand that there's worth in participating in everybody's content.
Well, think about it. So they say that SHOT Show brings in $90 million to Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about, how much money do you think these companies spend, the companies, the exhibitors, how much do they spend getting to Vegas and making that happen?
Right. So I don't know if I saw that one, because I was just, that number comes from, I was looking for either the square footage or something about this, one of the statistics about the SHOT Show, and I found that number. So I don't remember if I saw that one, but they might have had a number in there somewhere, and I don't remember if it was under media's FAQ or something like that, or if it was under the did they say attendees, and what's the other one they have in there? I think it might be under one of the other topics. But anyway, it said something like the average number that, or the average cost that people spend on a booth. Because there's such a big difference between Glock having a bunch of big booths and a little booth, right? So the average was something like 20,000 or 25,000, I think I saw. And that's just the real estate. So who knows what they're spending on their booth? Because again, some people are going to set up a table and put a cloth over it, and other people are going to spend $30,000 on some craziness.
Well, you saw them, some of them have offices set up, like, you see there's like one set up and like,
they're little log cabins.
I saw some with a second level, like where people were sitting up on top of them.
Yeah, that's like a little log cabin or something, or like a little business center.
Yeah.
And then, you go upstairs because you get away from the noise and it's private. So now if you're going to, make a business deal that is nobody's business, instead of having to worry about if somebody's peeking over a wall, you just go upstairs and you can tell. Plus, it's just neat. If you're trying to woo people, a lot of those second stories are when they've got competitive industry and they're trying to impress people. So if they can bring them up out of there, out of the show, and kind of let them look around and take a break and feel good because they're up in the air, and then give them something to drink and let them relax, I think that's just conducive to business, making.
I mean, look at Daniel Defense. Not only did they sponsor it, but their booth was outrageous. I wouldn't know what they spent.
Well, here's the thing. Daniel Defense's booth has been the same now, almost since they've been at SHOT, or since they've been at Sands, maybe even longer. I guess I'm not a big fan of Daniel Defense, so I don't pay that much attention, but I hear what you're saying. It's like every bit of square foot is the Glock booth, maybe even bigger. It's kind of hard to say because it's in a smaller room, but I'll bet you it's comparable to the Glock booth, which is, one of the larger ones there. But it's in a small room, so it feels like it's a whole chunk of that room.
Beretta had a huge booth, and
is Beretta there? I never even looked at their booth.
And the people that are there too, like Smith and Wesson had Jerry Mukulik there. Not only was he there just as a personality, but because he's a nice guy. If somebody asked him something, he was like showing some of the guns because he's not going to say no, but somebody asked him a question, he's showing them some of the gun, telling them about the gun. I mean, so you got different personalities that are there. How much are they having to pay to bring these people in? I mean, there is some there's a massive amount of money spent.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't even think. Well, I don't know. As NSSF could easily ask everyone and anonymously put it together and tell us, but I don't know if I've seen that number. But maybe that is included in the 90. I don't think though. I think it did say 90 million is the footprint, like just the
I think
other
that's how
stuff.
much we spend when we attend. That's how
Yeah.
much money we leave behind in Vegas.
Yeah. And that
That's
other
not.
number probably also depends a little bit on how good the economy is or something, like how good the industry is doing. You know, if it's not doing great, they probably spend less of, not getting there, but to what they do there, as opposed, the footprint in town is what I'm saying, probably stays works the same, where how much money they spend inside the show probably fluctuates with how the industry's doing.
It's like
What are you looking at
it's
here?
like range day.
Oh, this is
doesn't-
NSSF. Okay.
The attendees of Industry Day fluctuate from year to year because it's not always cost effective for them to be at range day. I mean, I'm sure it costs a lot to be there and include all the ammo that you're expending, and that's why it's not the same people every year, because it just doesn't always work out. You take a year or two off and then do it again.
Yeah, there's a couple of
Yeah, I
things
just
going
looked up.
on. Go ahead.
I just looked up, how much money is spent in the gun industry, and that's what I'm sharing here on the screen. Is the NSSF has got the economic impact of the gun industry at $52 billion a year.
Okay, it's billion, and that's from the whole industry then for whatever year that
That's-
was.
Yeah. Yep, that's firearms and ammunition.
So direct would be people buying something, supplier would be the materials, and then what's the induced?
That would be what it feeds back out into. So you get somebody who works in the factory, and then they go out and spend their wages on stuff, I would imagine. So
Yeah, something
That would
about
be
like if you're gonna, they probably have to factor with something like an entire industry. If we're gonna buy plastic boxes, then that creates, work that wouldn't exist if there wasn't a need for plastic boxes or metal bars or something. Yeah.
and just put that in perspective, the pet industry is 221 billion.
Well, that's important. So we're 50 and they're 221.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we're insignificant. What is, I mean, medical has to be insane. What is, automobiles must be insane. What's clothing? I'll bet you it's bigger than firearms.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah, because everybody's got clothes on and they go through clothes faster than guns. So pretty much, yeah, well, I bet you we're not that big an industry. But still, that's a huge number of dollars
I think
compared
that's
to
a
the
pretty big industry.
well, compared to the number of 2,500 media that'll attend. Yeah, so
But there's only going to be a handful of industries that are bigger. Yeah, there's going to be some that are bigger, but it's going to be right up there. It is definitely can hold its own.
let's see. So pink is saying stuff.
I'm sure video games are huge. I'm sure the movie industry is probably outrageous, but the firearms industry is nothing to dismiss or to sneeze at. It's still pretty big, even though there are bigger.
Pink is saying things for range day. If you have rental electronic earmuffs and iPro, don't want to use generic. Don't forget to pack them. Yeah, especially you guys that are flying. Although with this kind of time, it's probably still, I don't know. You could probably still call around and say, "Hey, I'm going to SHOT Show, and you want to, want me to use your Ear Pro." There's probably still time for him to respond and send something.
You might be able to.
Yeah, I mean, not saying it's for sure, nothing. All right, right, so Pink is saying everyone going to range day. I think so. Yes. And once we get closer, we'll have to, again, probably start coming up with whatever day is a good day to get everybody together. But we got quite a few people going, figure out what kind of car situations there's going to be. If somebody wants to, if people want to, if the consensus is to do some kind of meetup at the end also, then start figuring out that so that people can plan for it or not. And then anything else, because again, there's one of the biggest frustrations is when you go to an event, especially again, if it costs you a lot of time and effort to get to it and there's a lot of potential, and then to come home and realize, oh, I could have, right? And we've got a heck of a lot of experience of that, and I think so much more. We've talked about some stuff off air, but there's got to be other things that we can come up with that, with just a little bit thinking ahead, we could set ourselves up at least for just less chance of the we could have.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, you're not going to get as much done as you plan on. But if you plan ahead, I know. Well, excuse me. I'm going to try to do twice as much this year and put out a better product than I did last year. That's kind of my goal. And then next year, maybe build off that, and really. This is kind of I'm getting to apply everything that I learned the first year now on the second year and improve. That's my goal. And of course, that's what's driving me to try to do better this year, is because when I got back, I was like, man, I could have done this, I could have done that. And that's okay, because now I can get my plan ahead, together ahead of time, and then do good while you're there. Because like you said, you're there for a week. Seems like a long time.
Disappears
so quick. There's a lot of stuff happening, and next thing you know, it's time to go home. So
it's like four cubes of sugar in the rain. It seems like a lot until it starts raining, and then it all just seems to disappear at the same time, and before you know it, it's all gone. You can't do shit. And you could have probably done something, stacked them or something. You think as soon as it's all gone, you start thinking about what you could have done. So do you think that it's worth immediately after shot doing a video called, or to the effect of, here's what I wish I could have done. Like just right off the bat, before you even do any of the stuff you actually did, but just right off the bat while it's still fresh, do a video called what I should have done, like on the way home in the plane or something. Like, here's what I wish I would have done, here's what I wish I would have done, here's what I wish I would have done. Not so much for your audience as much as, but for your audience too, because hopefully people share their experiences. I think that's, unless I'm wrong, that's what inspires others to be part of this whole thing, right? When you hide everything and you make it seem like everything's a win and it's all easy and fast, people are like, well, I'm not like that guy, I'm not going to do that. If you show your failures and your mess ups and stuff and you have fun with it all, that's what gets other people enjoying this whole thing. We realize it isn't some, anyway, we remove the barriers to access, right? So anyway, you do something at the end for all those reasons, and now this year, when you go into it, you could watch that video and go, oh snap, I totally forgot that I screwed that up or whatever. Or do you think it's worth doing one right before shot, saying this is what I forgot to do last year, as, what do they call that, like reinforcement or whatever, so that you don't forget about it this year? And then again, is that valuable, or is that just a waste of time? I am always like, I didn't get to 6,000 videos by debating whether or not I should put up a video. I put up a video and then don't worry about it ever again. But I know some people that are creating channels, projects, they don't want just a bunch of waste of time videos up there. So would that just be like a waste of time video that would confuse an audience if you've got an actual project in mind? Or is it worth doing those kind of things for all the stuff I just said?
I know the post video for sure. I think that would be, like you said, that just kind of like, here's what I could have done, here's what I should have done. And that might be a reminder for the next year. I don't know about because I kind of, I'm not going to say I forgot, but it's not as fresh. It's not, if you savor that moment of, man, I should have done this, I should have done that, and you capture that, and you watch it next year before you go, it'll keep you motivated.
Yeah, and I don't think I can tell you my own personal preferences. I'm not interested in watching a video or in a channel with somebody who says they've got this shit all figured out, because I know they're full of it. Because nobody's got it all figured out. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to do everything that they want to do, and I don't think the audience wants to see that for the most part either, because the audience is human, and they want to know that the people that they're watching and they've invested their time in and they're fans of, they want to know that they're human as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pink is saying print or write out an index. What am I doing? Or no, I was like, oh yeah, I can just click on his thing. I'm not using the duck. Print or write out an index card with an intro for your show. That way, if you run into someone famous and they are willing, you can whip it out and then give them that card as an impromptu intro for your channel. Clover does that, doesn't he? He has a bunch of people. I just wouldn't put like more than one in front of every video, but that's preference, I guess. And then that's got to be what do they call it? You know, it's like it's a way to introduce yourself in a way that's, you know, hey, not just like, hey, whatever, sign my boob or whatever.
That's actually a pretty neat idea if you could get some of the famous people, if they do it and release it to you. Do like a little intro for your channel, and then you just periodically use it. That's...
Or get them to say, what organization do you, like, what gun owners' rights group do you support? Or could you give a shout out for your favorite gun owners' rights group and then use that? I mean, I'm not going to shit can the idea of having them plug your shit, but, you know, have them do something like a little PSA.
Yeah, that's definitely something that
You're successful in the gun industry. What do you attribute to the secret to your success? Like, I go to sleep early on Sunday nights, and then that could be like, you know, PSA for people.
I never watched The Closer. That's definitely it. I'm definitely gonna give some thought into doing an after action, like right after it's done. I will probably do something like after the night shot show ends, in between packing and getting ready to go, and then on the plane coming back. And I probably won't release it, like, I wouldn't do it like right away, because I'll give myself a week. I'll make notes and then give myself a week or two to digest what I've done and what I might have missed, and then do it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a produced video. A list that you start immediately would probably be smarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would take a team of people to cover everything that you could think of. It would take a team. There's no way one person's going to do it.
Oh yeah, I already know I've got too many things on my list that I want to do, and that's why I got it.
So now it's just a point of prioritizing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually going through my list, and if I even think I want to see it, I'm adding it to my planner, and then I'll start thinning the planner down to what's attainable, or at least prioritizing.
All right, so I guess I had, as far as topics for tonight, SHOT Show strategy and 2020 project collaboration. So, not that we've been 100% on either one of these, but you guys are kind of talking towards SHOT Show strategy right here. So let me ask, you've been a little, whatever, in my opinion, vague on what you're talking about. So when you talk about right now, theoretically, Sarge at least looking at this his first year, or Noxious looking at this for the first time, you're looking at this list or map, I guess, of people, or no, you're probably looking at the list right now, not even looking at the map, huh?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the list first, and then I'll start transposing it into
when you're looking at
the
when you're looking at the lists of who's going to be there, what's going through your mind? Are you talking you're going to have a face-to-face interview type of video with these people where you're going to ask them a couple of
Yes.
questions and they're going to answer them?
Yes, I want to see. First thing I'm doing is looking at products that I personally care about, because that's kind of what my channel. I mean, I cover some things that like I'm not as much personally interested in, because I do try to do some independent stuff, but then a lot of the stuff I cover is because I'm interested in them. So that's if you're interested, you're going to do a better job. So I'm going through finding companies and products that I am personally interested in and want to know about, and I'm trying to find some other ones that I know are releasing something that's new. I'm adding those in there too. That's I might end up liking it, because there's I found some things this year that I didn't think I liked, that I kind of passed over on, and once I tested them, I really did like them. Like that mini revolver, that pug revolver. I'd always kind of passed over those, but I tested that one and absolutely loved it, and I added North American Arms to my SHOT Show planner because I want to go talk to them, see if they have anything new coming out or whatnot. So that's my thought process right now, is things I care about and things that are products I feel are important to the industry.
What about obnoxious? Answer that same one? Or you got to answer
That's
that one?
pretty much exactly what I did. I went through just real quick, and anything that I saw on there that I thought would be interesting or that I already knew about and was interested in, I marked them down on the list, and then I'm going to go back and it's like I want to really see the Colt Python that's coming out. I'm really interested in that, so that's going to be the top priority on my list. And
I'm going to see it first.
no, you're not. I will trip you. I'll trip you. You land after I do, so I will trip you as you get off the plane. Sprain your ankle right at the beginning. So the Colt Python is something that I'm definitely going to see. And there'll be other things that I'll go through that I am definitely going to go see, and we'll have stuff that I'm interested in and I want to go see, and then it'll be the stuff that I find is interesting.
All right, so I'm glad I asked because that gives me some idea. So I think it's still going to be worthwhile to have a show with a bunch of different peoples who are going to SHOT to get their strategies or whatever, their plans. So trying to figure out a way to go at it. So if you go at SHOT as an individual, you're going at it in 2020. So you're not going at it like you've never heard of SHOT before, and you're not going at it like no one's ever been to SHOT before. So you're not going at it raw, even if you weren't with gun channels or you were just going at this, so you created a project by a blog or something, you had no idea what YouTube even was, and you got yourself to SHOT Show as media, and you were completely by yourself. You'd still have some idea what SHOT Show was. I mean, you wouldn't pursue a media pass for SHOT Show if you didn't have an understanding of what it was, right? So with that in mind, I don't think, I mean, I guess it's, I don't know. I guess my dilemma here is I think it's weak to go to SHOT Show anymore in 2020 with like I'm going to go see what it's all about, unless you seriously don't care about motivating your project, or you're just literally, what do they call it, like riding your media pass. Like if you're not trying to grow a channel or nothing, then yeah, go experience it. But I think if you're trying to grow a channel, you're just missing so much opportunity by not digging in. And that's where I'm trying to preface all this with, I guess you have a right to go like just experience SHOT, but I just think it would be such a waste of an opportunity if you're seriously trying to grow a channel. So if you're trying to grow a channel, you guys have an interesting perspective on it. You're gonna build a channel based on what you're interested in, and then I guess attract people that would be interested in that or part of the adventure, or are similar or something, and that would work. And the stuff that you're talking about doing would jive with that or whatever. But I guess what I'm getting at, knowing that angle, that's different than Marco, who's trying to do an Instagram project, or that's different than Clover, who's trying to do the the youth shooter like awareness thing. You know, it's just different strategies for different projects or whatever. So with that type of strategy, going in and doing an interview with Python or Colt, I guess, about the Python, is that something that is necessary for your channel? Because if you're going at it just to see what it's like and experience it, having somebody hold the camera while you fiddle with it, you know, literally fiddle with it, that's what Shot's for, and then to stand there, because here's the thing, you can act like you never heard of what Shot is, but in real life, we know what Shot's going to be in 2020. If they're debuting a Python, they're not going to hide that and let one person at a time see it. They're going to have that thing probably in 4 different corners of their booth. They're going to have 8 or 9, everybody in the Colt area is going to know the spiel, but they're going to have 8 or 9 people talking about it, you know, day one and 9 o'clock every morning. So it's definitely not going to be hard to get to it. Now, getting someone one-on-one is the opposite. I bet you that'll be almost impossible, unless I could be wrong. Like they could totally have anticipated people wanting to do YouTube videos and bring 3 or 4 people to facilitate it. But in past years, more than likely, they're just going to have somebody demoing it, because most of SHOT Show isn't for us, the 2,500. It's for the 60,000 gun shops that are showing up, right? So most of the time, they just need to stand there and talk about the Colt. So I guess what I'm saying is expectations. If you are trying to build a channel just to, I don't have to explain it, you guys just said, is an interview with Colt going to really do anything for you or your channel? Or if you, again, fiddled with it and got some close-up and your insight, and then if you can shoot it, I don't remember if it's going to be at the range or not, but then instead of waiting around and trying to obtain an interview with Colt, which might take you 3 hours to facilitate and wait for, just stand there and videotape them going through the spiel and be one of 70 people that offer that same video, but you're still going to be one of 30 people that offer the same interview with Colt, right? So it's not like you're getting a unique interview with Colt, is what I'm saying. So I guess what I'm saying is when you're, what's the word, like figuring out your time and stuff, prioritize your Python, you know, and then if you want to say, maybe I'll find something randomly downstairs, like what Ghost is a big fan of. Well, for your channel, where you're trying to find stuff that's interesting to you and maybe even facilitate funding your channel, hooking up with somebody downstairs who has an interesting holster or doodad, or, you know, is appreciative of your time to the point where they're going to facilitate you getting to other places, then that might be a better thing to foster as a relationship, spending some actual time in Vegas fostering or looking for seeking out relationships like that, than standing in line at Colt for 3 hours, you know, that you spent a bunch of money to create one of 17 videos that nobody on you're not trying to sell Colts on your channel, is what I'm getting at. If you were trying to sell Colts, if you were trying to impress Colts so that you could get a Python, well, then that's a totally different set of advice. But same thing with NAA. You mentioned just, and you don't know, I mean, I obviously pay attention to NAA a lot different than other people. NAA doesn't come out with nothing new ever. They literally have the same booth for like the 15 years I've been going to SHOT. They've had the same 2 display cases. They've changed the backdrop once, and they bring out this, you know, they bring out a new gun every 15 years or something. It seems like, you know, maybe 3 guns in that whole time I've been watching them. So yeah, I mean, you can go to NAA and talk to them, but I could tell you, you could ask me and I could tell you, talking to NAA, you might as well talk to a roll of paper towel. They could give a shit. They're going to make their guns. They've made them forever. They're never going to change nothing. They just sit there the whole time. Either the girls will bring the guns out for people who don't know and go, hey, look at these guns. And then the guys who run the place will sit there and people will go, these guns are great. And they go, yep, thanks. Yep, thanks. Yep, thanks. Because they're just doing their thing. They're fishing. They're not bad people. They're just not ambitious. They just don't care. They don't need to advertise. So you're wasting your time trying to advertise with them. So that's the kind of thing where I can tell you, or you could find out, you know, I don't want you to go to SHOT and waste any amount of time sitting with NAA. I like the gun more than anybody, probably, but they'll never work with me because I'm honest about it. They don't care. They're just there. So that's, you know, I'd rather give you that advice and have you breeze past NAA, spend the 15 minutes just doing a over the shoulder type of review with the girl, than trying to wait around for Sandy, who might not, the guy who owns the place, who might never even show up but 3 times at SHOT, and he's all wiggly about trying to do interviews and stuff. He always weird about it. So, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to throw that advice out there, that when you're prioritizing this stuff, I don't know, maybe we should have some conversations again, just to kind of throw this kind of stuff out there so that you got plenty of time to plan. But biggest plan I think I'll end it with, or whatever suggestion I'll end it with, is just stay fluid or whatever. Keep a bunch of plans on paper, but then be ready to make another plan.
I didn't think there was any. I don't think I'm going to get any, world shattering interview out of Colt. It's something I want to really go get a look at that Python, and I know it's going to be, the hot thing that everybody's going to be going to look at. So even if I am one of 50 videos that are out there about the Colt Python, I've got a good chance that people are going to want to go see that video anyway. And whether it's, getting the spiel that whoever's there is given, and then I'm getting some hands-on with it, and some trigger pulling with it and everything there, then maybe that's got something to offer to somebody too. See, I mean, I still get views on my 92X from NRAM. I don't get a ton of them, and it's not like it's my top video, but it still pulls things in, and that was just me, filming the gun and pulling the trigger on it.
Well, all right, so now if you're talking, you want to get views, and you're not just making it for your own satisfaction, that's a whole different thing. So now what about trying to get in there on Monday to get the first glimpse of it? And consequences be damned. What about going in and talking to, again, you can either go with the strategy trying to be first. I was first with the couple of things. With the judge, though, is the one that we had to run into SHOT Show to be first with. No, not the judge. What's the Smith & Wesson one called? Governor. With the governor that year, I remember running in, getting a video of it, and running the fuck right back out so that I could upload the video before anybody. So I've done that before, and it's interesting. It's a thing to do. It's tough. You can't, it's like trying to catch a good fish, not just fishing, but I want to catch a good fish. But there's, again, I could talk to you about how to get in there first, because you're not going by yourself. You're going with 15 other people who have contacts, and we're going in 2020. So, and you got a month out. So if you really want to get views on a Colt Python video, why are you playing by some rules? But there's that. So I'm not going to ever stifle anybody who wants to actually be the first Python video. Let's do it. Or you do it, go do it. I'll fucking help all I can. But the other option is to walk right past all the suckers trying to be the first, because somebody else can always be first. All they gotta do is have a better internet connection, really. You could you could spend a lot of effort to try to do something, and then somebody else can just be better at you. That's always annoying. But the other option would be like maybe talk to a designer, or go in and talk to the marketing people and get like the first view of the catalog, or something else that's like that Colt people are gonna appreciate, and everybody else is wasting their time. Because again, play them. You would know what 90% of the people, of the 2,500 people that are going to SHOT, how many of them are writers who take themselves out of the game. They don't even have a camera. Then you take out the photographers, who they're going to take excellent pictures of the Colt. Maybe get with some of them so that, well, I don't know, you already fancy yourself a photographer, so maybe not. But the photographers are going to take great pictures. Big deal. Maybe they'll show up in photographs or magazines or catalogs in months, but who cares? All the magazine people, maybe we'll see it on their Instagram, but good luck. So really you're only fighting with YouTubers and a couple of bloggers. So, your competition is not much, and most of them are going to be standing there trying to be first. And they're just going to offer the obligatory, here's what Colt said about it. What if you started contacting Colt today and said, like, I want to have the best Colt Python videos, period? You'd think anybody else is calling them today? I bet you Colt has 10 people who assume they should be first, and then you got like 5 people who they figure should be first, and then I'll bet you a whole country full of people who are just waiting in line for some reason, even though there's not even a rope up. Or you could call Colt tomorrow and start bugging them about how you can get the best interview, or how you can, everything short of going to the factory, how you can get the best video and be like their thing. They're not going to care about, if you're Hickok or Mac, because Hickok and Mac ain't calling them for that right now. They might not have anybody calling them for that right now. They just have much people probably that assume they should. But anyway, I'll definitely going to stop at that. So if you want to create views, there's all kinds of ways. I think we can again talk about past experiences, stuff that, you know, we've taken videos, I'm sure other people have, where, well, this is a gimme or a throwaway, and then dang, it was the most viral video. Or like, I'm going to do this and I put all kinds of effort into it. It was a waste of time because, you know, I could have done it half the time over here. So if we can give you some suggestions with that, like I say, I think that's one of the neatest things about SHOT is that for a content creator is that most people are doing the same old, same old. So all you got to do is be like semi-creative, and you can offer something totally different that'll get all the views, or at least an equivalent amount of views than any of the best quality or the first or the most insight, you know what I mean? Or you know, explained by the person with the most awareness. But heck, if you just turned around the camera, went to the Python booth and stood there and waited for everybody who you recognized to show up and ask them what they thought of it. You mind if I use that 30-second clip in my video? And now you put up a series of 10 videos where it's just everybody who's anybody who went to the cult booth and talked about, and they're going to give you 3 seconds with the Python or what their thoughts are on the Python. Would that get you some views?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably would.
And then that's an opportunity to stand there with Colt, and they're going to be like, what are you doing this for? Well, here's why, because I'm thinking outside the box, and all these other idiots are just going to take pictures of your guns. I'm going to make sure that your gun goes viral. And then maybe they take you in the back, maybe they take you out to dinner. I don't know if there's a Colt party, but there's a Glock party. That's just Colt. But think of like they use their, what seem like advantages as, you know, think of them as their disadvantages, because a lot of times they are. You figure it's Colt, they've got everything. They probably, everybody assumes they're Colt and they've got everything.
Yeah, I definitely gotta put some thought in.
But the other thing,
Something to
the other thing is we're not going alone. Who knows Colt? It's crazy how many people Marco knows. And if you ask somebody to ask around, it's, you know, we might know somebody somewhere that can get you. And that's just, I'm picking on Python and picking on NAA just because those are two things you happen to talk about that I figured I could throw a different angle on. And I don't do shit, I just walk around. So like I say, all I can offer is the devil's advocate. If we got some people in here who've been going to SHOT with a camera recently, you know, we could probably get some really interesting conversations going too on strategy and goals. So without getting too much into that, like I say, I'm going to try to start scheduling some chats so that we have an opportunity to get as many people as possible together so that we know what we're all bringing as far as resources and abilities and skills, and what we might need as far as ability, resources, and skills, so we can best distribute those and make as much efficient use as possible as the whole thing as far as the gun channels crew, and then so that everybody can succeed as individuals. And I hope that we can start to change SHOT Show intentionally instead of changing SHOT Show inadvertently like we've been doing for a long time. Lots of opportunity, and it's cool. I don't know if I've ever experienced in 15 years having a situation where there was two chats, Quark and me, that were chatting about the same thing, going to SHOT Show as content creators. That's live conversations with multiple audiences and multiple participants, you know, all getting ready for an event. And we're not the only ones. You saw Work the Trigger showed up into your guys' thing. I guess he's not going, but he represents, you know, all the people that really we don't chat with on a regular on the YouTube. And then of course, you know, all the people from, you know, some of these other events we've all attended, who, again, maybe don't use YouTube, but show up to these industry events. And hopefully the industry will start figuring out that they're welcome into these things. You know, Clover doing his Friday thing is an effort towards that. But, you know, they hire the industry hires marketing people. They hire reps, people that go out and visit gun shops. You ever met any of those guys? You know, they represent maybe 2 or 3 companies usually, and they just travel gun shops. That's all they do. Make sure that they're happy with their product. If they have any questions, if they need marketing materials, they basically facilitate, you know, brands with shops. And depending on the size of a shop or, you know, the number of shops in an area, I guess it probably depends on how often these people get around to these areas, but those guys are neat and they can bring a lot of insight out. And again, I think that there's some opportunity here with these kind of conversations to see the industry realize that, again, they're welcome to these kind of things. And once they figure out what your guys' goals are and how little, as far as resources financially and others, access. Imagine what they could offer with just access. Like if some of the manufacturers, if some of the museums, if some of the associations realize that if they would work with the clubs, work with the fan groups, if those fan groups realize if they'd organize just a little bit and ask, that they could probably gain access and have a much more fulfilling experience with their collecting or with their research or with their, whatever it might be, even just fan fiction and stuff, just having access to stuff, and it's content creators that can facilitate that. And we could be a much stronger industry going forward. So hopefully we'll see conversations like this grow. And like I say, it's been awesome. So thanks guys for good 2019 and joining me tonight. 17 people watching, so I am officially off the hook. Have we been going for, we went for more than an hour. We're good. So yeah, thanks again for jumping in, and see everybody tomorrow. Oh, I guess I should let you guys plug stuff. I'm not used to having people on that have projects. You guys want to plug anything?
I'm just going to do a video on my rig this week and really spend the rest of my time getting ready to head out there. I want to do a video on my rock slide. I got all that done, put together, and I just saw that they're going to be a SHOT Show, so I need to. I was going to do it this week anyway. I was going to do it today, but I'll make sure I get it done this week and get that up before I go. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I highly recommend doing videos on the camera. As far as content creators, doing videos about your camera before shot would be interesting, because then that can create some conversation and stuff. But as far as real life and you, I mean, if you got to prioritize, I would definitely ditch that one till whenever, because that's not necessarily time critical unless you're about to change it again soon. But the best thing about those camera videos, you got all those Amazon links for sure, and that's where you get cross people too. You get somebody who comes over to find out your camera rig for a NASCAR event, and then they're like, "Oh, guns, what's that all about?" Noxious, anything?
I got a couple of red dots that I gotta go over. I'm gonna get finalize my camera rig when that comes in. Thinking of doing a King Cobra versus a Glock 19 video, and then start, nailing it down for shot.
Yeah, well,
What?
It's my idea.
I mentioned a long time ago, I think, when we didn't plan it, something happened. Some gun came out. I think it was I don't remember. Some little gun came out, and they had given us some marketing material of a Ruger, I think, or something. It was like a little cutout, a color cutout of some little gun. And then they, so Joe went around and took pictures of that because it was a full-size color cutout, actual size. He could set that next to any gun at SHOT Show, and it was an immediate size comparison. So if you were to bring that, something like a life-size cutout of a Python and set it next to other guns at SHOT, that might be interesting to some people, I guess, or something like that.
I was gonna do it as a funny spin on it, because I've done it versus my King Cobra versus my Ruger, and I got, I was gonna do it against other revolvers, but then yes, it was Sarge's idea to do something funny with it versus the Glock and go with that. So I'm probably gonna try and get that out, and I'm gonna contact Colt, see if I can.
Have you thought about breeding snakes and having a live python at SHOT?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Afterwards, you
maybe I
could
could just rent one in. I mean, it's Vegas. I could probably rent one, right?
be careful of when you go to rent a boa in Vegas. Be real careful. Make sure it's clean. So when you're all done, if you do buy the snake, you could just let it go in the water feature, and then it could help protect it or whatever.
Eat all the fish, though.
Well, that's
Eat
true.
all the fish, yeah. You have to get a little tiny python. You can't eat the koi then. Still eat my goldfish. Can't have that.
So we'll be back tomorrow. It is Free Patch Friday tomorrow. I am, what do they say? The coffers are dry, so I'll be pleading for funds for the upcoming adventures here. So I'll be doing some stuff tomorrow. I was hoping to do a little bit more today, but a bunch of live stuff happened, and working on the computer here was more fun than working on in the shop. So I'm going to try to get out there in the morning and get some stuff up on the store tomorrow. But it will be Free Patch Friday, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. When I do it this way, I got to remember where the